Thank you for coming into this Tech Talk session. My name is Nick Emblem. I'm a sales manager for Teleopti, who are now a Calabrio company, and I'll come on to that in a minute. I don't have the hot topic of the day, which is AI, but there is a little bit of AI later, so I'm sure we can fulfill that. Before we start, I'm going to be talking about workforce management and employee engagement. Does everyone know what workforce management is? Yeah, okay, got some nodding heads, good. Does anyone know where this is? The backdrop. Any guesses? Okay. Oh, okay. So this is Stockholm. This is where Teleopti are from. So I can guarantee you one thing today. You're either going to learn something new about workforce management or a fun and interesting fact about Sweden. So hopefully you all came in here for the Sweden bit. Today specifically I'm talking about employee engagement, which is a part of a broader topic of workforce management. Okay, no one's left the room yet, so that's good. A little bit about Teleopti, just so you understand who we are and where we come from. So we're a Swedish company. We've been around for 27 years until June of this year. We were acquired by Calabrio, which I'll come on to in a second. We focus 100% on workforce management. So everyone you speak to in Teleopti is kind of passionate about resource planning and algorithms, which can make for quite entertaining company events. We're very much partner-centric, so we're here at Britannic. Obviously today, they're a key partner for us, and we work with specialist partners in the UK who can deliver their own expertise around telephony and that kind of thing. We're functionally rich. So we're workforce management that's always developing. We like to have the saying that we have 365 new product releases a year. So we have one piece of functionality released every single day into our product, which I think far outstrips other WFM vendors on the market. And that's because we are focused so much on workforce management. And the final thing, so we're massively scalable. So anything from kind of a 40-seat contact center all the way up to 19,000 seats. That is actually our largest global customer, which is Netflix, who bought us about 6 or 7 months ago. Has anyone ever called Netflix? No? Okay. We didn't ask them that as part of the RFP process, kind of what everyone's doing, but we thought it was quite entertaining that when we went through that, no one had ever called them, but they got so many agents. So they must be doing something right with the product and service. Okay. So just to frame kind of the Calabrio company piece, in case any of you have come across this before. So we do workforce management, pretty simple, for contact centers. Calabrio are a workforce optimization, or a little bit of an American term, workforce engagement management. It really rolls off the tongue. So they do call recording, quality, workforce management, analytics, reporting, a full suite of products, okay? There's 2 reasons why they bought Teleopti. The first reason is they recognize us as the global leader in terms of a standalone WFM platform, and they thought that's going to really complement our suite of products here. So that's why they bought us, number 1. And number 2, as I said, we're a European company. We've got a great European base of customers. We're slightly smaller in the US, and they're kind of similar. They're a US company, slightly smaller in the EMEA. So as a global organization, we're now a lot stronger in terms of presence across the globe and other solutions which our customers can hopefully take advantage of. Okay. Is there any customers in here? Yep. Okay, got 1. Cool. Lots of other things you can buy. We work in a very jargon-heavy industry. You've heard lots of TLAs today, 3-letter acronyms. It can be really confusing, and I work for a company that brings out lots of TLAs. So just to make it really simple, WFM on the left, WFO on the right is an umbrella term that includes workforce management. Hopefully you can all appreciate that. Okay. So what is workforce management? You've probably seen this before, hopefully. The old kind of cliche, right people, right skill, right place, right time. But now it's all about all these other things as well. You know, how do we schedule breaks and lunches around when your customers are calling? How do we book holidays in? So move away from writing a piece of paper, scanning it in, putting it in your HR platform. How do we automate that process? By providing mobility. Shift trading, gamification, adherence, we've got it all. To put it simply, if you call John Lewis on a Monday morning, we'll have predicted you'd call them on a Monday morning and put someone in place to answer that call. Okay. So what do we do for contact centres? You're probably all wondering. We saw 3 major challenges, and it's really nice to crystallise things into 3s. I'm sure you're all aware of that. So the first major challenge is schedule alignment. So many contact centres look like this. The blue bars here are your incoming call demand from your customers. The red line is your agents, which are scheduled in. So as you can see here, in the morning, we're overstaffed. Around lunchtime, we're understaffed. And then in the afternoon, we've got 2 periods of massive overstaffing. Huge problem for many contact centres because it's difficult to schedule across multiple channels and make sure your resources are lined up. Yeah. Hopefully a few nodding heads. So this is a kind of before and after, and what we do with particular customers who are keen to kind of demonstrate the business case to their management. Before buying it, we need this. After buying it, can we prove we've made improvements within the business? So this is the before. We've got 12-week rotations. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that. Very fixed rotations, don't really suit the business, don't really suit the agents. No one's very happy. Very fixed schedules, and in terms of your customer experience, which is obviously key, even though it's at the bottom there, they're getting some good service in the morning and then terrible service through lunchtime, and it's kind of all over the place, fluctuating. This is what we can do with Teleopti. So better align the resources you have on hand to meet your customer requirements. So in this particular example, we had 120 agents and we've now reduced it to 90 to meet that customer demand. What we're not doing, and just to make this very clear, is axing people and getting rid of people. What we're doing is taking them resources, them 30 people, and using them more effectively on a different channel, for example. So you might have like an email backlog, or you might have just launched web chat and you don't really have the people to fulfill those incoming demands there. So yeah, putting people and using your resources more smartly rather than putting them all over the place in the first one. So what we also offer is more flexible start times. So your agents have a bit more flexibility over when they want to work and when they can work. More flexible shift lengths. So rather than just having fixed 8 hours, and I'm sure lots of contact centers still have those, we can offer anything from like 2, 3, 4 hour shifts to 10-hour shifts. Do split shifts, for example, throughout the day when the business needs it most, and what fits around your agent's work-life balance. And obviously, finally, the correct service levels. Throughout that day there, the resources are lined up to provide the correct service level which you're trying to hit. Okay. So the next thing we offer is adherence. So this is something many of you are unlikely to have if you don't have a workforce management platform. So this is marrying up what your agent is scheduled to do versus what they're actually doing. So we take real-time states from your ACD and we log that against what they should be doing based on the schedule. So as you can see along the middle here, we've got a colourful line. So that indicates your agent's schedule across the day. So imagine the pink bit at the start is social media, green is a phone task, the small red bits are breaks, and then yellow, you've guessed it, is lunch. So if you look at this today as an example, we've got a period here where we've got like a 15-minute interval, and we log everything in 15-minute intervals. This 15-minute interval, the agent has been logged into their phone for about 7 or 8 minutes, but the rest of it is empty. That means they've been non-adherent to schedule. So that could mean the agent was in a not ready state, they could have been logged out, any other kind of rule or parameter you want to set as being adherent or non-adherent to schedule. This rolls up throughout the day to produce a daily adherence score, which allows you to measure your agents against a set benchmark you're looking for them to hit. Okay. Make sense so far? Yep. So typically this forms the backbone of any business case. So you're moving from spreadsheets to workforce management. This is going to be the big kind of money saver and the kind of thing you want to put in front of key decision makers. So typical savings, a 350-seat contact center there. Just with a 5% increase in productivity. These are the kind of numbers you would be talking about as an example. And we can go through this kind of process if you're considering workforce management. Obviously, we can come along to that later. So the final bit is attrition and sickness, and this is where we're getting on to employee engagement. So what we're looking to do is, as a business, is offer your agents better mobility in terms of offering them an app or a web portal to be able to view their shifts, but also book in holidays, shift trades and overtime, and take away from the management and resource planning teams all of the manual tasks you have to do at the moment in terms of looking for when holidays can be taken. When can shift trades happen? Is overtime available? Many of these things are quite opaque processes. Without WFM, this makes it really simple and transparent. Okay. So if you've ever stood in front of a technology salesperson, you've probably seen a slide like this before. But the reason I show it, so this is to show that we're not really verticalized or specialized in any particular sector. We work with anyone as long as they've got a contact center. So typically, as I said before, 40 agents is our kind of minimum. Our biggest customer in the UK is Webhelp, and one of the most interesting customers is ASOS. So I mentioned before, we don't just forecast across voice. So ASOS don't actually use us for their voice contact center in the UK, they outsource that. So all of the channels that we have coming from ASOS in the UK get fed into Teleopti, and they're things like email, social media, web chat, and other non-voice channels. The reason they chose us was because I think they saw us as a company that was future-proofed. We can work with all of their existing incoming customer platforms, but also any future customer platforms as well they're looking to offer. And another really cool one, I quite like this one, is rental cars. They've got about 30 languages in their Manchester contact centre, and they schedule across all of those and all the complexities of that to meet their incoming customer demand across Europe and the world. Okay, so does anyone know what this is? Nearly. I'll give you a clue. So contact centre, yeah. So hopefully no one has headsets like that anymore in their contact centres. But anyone want to guess a year? What's that? 3? Any more? Okay, but pretty much nearly there. I went into a meeting once and they said it was 1932. So it was 1965. Hopefully you're wondering why I'm showing you this today. So this is to show kind of the evolution of complexity in contact centres these days. So many contact centres, well, hopefully none of them look like this anymore, but many of them are still quite simple. So quite a small number of agents, 9 to 5 shifts, number of calls, 12 maximum. The 13th call would hit a dead tone, which must have been quite frustrating if you were calling at that time. And yeah, no weekend work and very simple queries. Just a phone, and they'd send out letters as well. So kind of in a way a multimedia contact center, but with just incoming voice and letters. Okay. So the reason I show you this is to take that kind of basic example and say, there is still contact centers like this today. However, there's 2 reasons why contact centers have evolved in complexity and moved from, traditional call centers to lots of different channels. So the first one is technology. We're at a technology event today. There's loads of vendors out there who offer, new and exciting ways for customers to contact you as a business. So technological advancements, number 1. And the second one is customer expectation. So your customers are expecting more and more ways to get in touch with you, and obviously you've got to keep up to ensure that you're meeting those needs and selling whatever goods you might be selling or servicing people. So customer demand is a really key driver here. As we move further to the right with Teleopti, this is where your level of complexity increases, and where perhaps in the past you've not needed a WFM platform to resource plan and you've got along with spreadsheets. Actually now it's, I'm sure, becoming much more challenging for you to resource plan across multiple channels, multiple skills, longer days, multiple languages, etc. Okay. So the point of this, the further right we go, the more need there is for platforms like ourselves. So if we begin to think a little bit more about agents here, so I'm going to throw some statistics at you, and hopefully you can see kind of the value of why we do this kind of thing. So typically, an engaged employee is more likely to stay than leave within a year. That's 8.5 times more likely to stay. It's a pretty big number. They're 4 times more likely to stay than dissatisfied colleagues, 16 times more likely to refer friends to their company, a key way to recruit people, and 3.3 times more likely to feel empowered to resolve your customer issues. I'm sure you all want empowered agents who want to resolve these issues. And just at the bottom here, agent hire is expensive. It can be 10 to 20 grand if you include training, salaries, recruitment costs, non-productive time for however many months. Okay. So, this graph shows a whopping amount of time it takes for an agent to become productive and break even. So typically this study from McKinsey said that it took 26 months for an agent to become productive and break even. That's probably an average. Some of them will be more, some of them will be less, obviously. An experienced agent is 52% more efficient than a new one. So I think we can all agree that keeping your employees engaged is probably a good thing, and lowering attrition is, the holy grail of many contact centres. Okay. We're now going to go slightly off-piste and tell you a few facts about Sweden. I did promise that, so I'm going to tell you a little bit. So back to Stockholm again. Just imagine it's very cold and icy, and everyone's good looking. So in Sweden, you have the right to have 25 consecutive days holiday in the summer months. That's written into Swedish employment law. Okay. Hopefully you're all going in LinkedIn now looking for jobs in Stockholm. And they all have summer houses. Everyone has a summer house somehow, so they all sit on a lake for 25 days. After the birth of a child, you have the right to a long time of parental leave. It's one of the most progressive countries in the world in terms of parental leave laws, which is pretty cool. And finally, we have the Swedish number. Has anyone heard of this before? No? Okay. I'll give you a moment to read it. Yeah. This is the live demo part of it where I call Henrik Svensson. So, some random facts about the Swedish number. No one's heard of it, no? Okay. So, Swedish number. Total number of days, just over a year in terms of total call time. Pretty cool. So the website had latest incoming calls, so who was calling in, Australians. Total number of calls, I think that was a particular month. And then the number of countries that we're calling. And everyone loves a wallboard, right? Most people work in contact centres, so hopefully you're enjoying this. So, just want to draw your attention to the top right there. So, why is no one answering? Everyone's busy, number one. Number two, you're in the wrong time zone, everyone's asleep. So all them Australians calling at midday might be, hitting Sweden at like midnight, so no one's going to pick up the phone or be very grouchy. And number four, it's the last day of April. Everyone's watching bonfires, so no one's picking up the phone. Okay, so what I'm now going to show you is some of our groundbreaking features and functionality in Teleopti, and also where we see the workforce management market going in terms of engaging your employees. Okay, so that's the end of the Swedish bit, by the way. Okay, so mobility. I wish I could access these from home. Did you hear that before with your staff when they're not in at the right time because they've lost the spreadsheet with the shifts they're meant to work? Yeah, okay, we've all heard that. I used to be a resource planner, so that's quite annoying. So what we're offering to your agents: automation, mobility, being able to see the shifts they're working, make sure they're in at the right time, be able to look and see, oh, actually I can see there's a holiday available next week. Fantastic, I can book it on the app. It's approved automatically, really good. Preference-based scheduling, so within Teleopti you can put in when you want to work, and Teleopti will schedule based on that. Automated shift trades, so you can swap really quickly in a few seconds with your colleagues with the right skills. It takes seconds rather than probably hours or lots of paperwork to make sure it happens. There's a full audit trail so that if you do a shift swap, people know it's happened. Second one is overtime and absence. So Agents get this view of overtime on the left. So you can see here on Saturday and Sunday, surprise, surprise, we're very understaffed. The long green bars mean that you've got overtime available all day long. Okay. You can see here some mornings on Wednesday, we've got some overtime available. So this means what your agents can do is input when they're available to work overtime. That will then go to the resource planner, and then whenever they're looking to optimize those days and fulfill those shortages, they can look at that and say, oh, there's 10 people put down for overtime, book them in. That will then go back to the agent saying you've been booked in for overtime on those days you chose. Okay. On the right here, you can see a very zoomed in image of absence probability. So for example, this is on an intraday level, so down to the hour is there availability for absence. You can also see, weeks and months ahead to say whether or not absence is available, for a whole day or for a whole week or whatever. The point of this is that Teleopti, imagine you come in one day and Teleopti has said, your forecast is this much, but actually your forecast is a lot lower. There's a lot fewer calls coming in, maybe 30% less. What Teleopti can then do is say, actually, we've had a lot fewer calls than we thought we would have. You've got agents sat there, perhaps for 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon, not really answering any calls. This allows Teleopti to send a message to those agents and say, do you want to take holiday or unpaid leave in the afternoon? Send the agents home, and then allows them to work the time back whenever the business needs it more. So it's about optimizing resources, even at an intraday level, so that you can stop having over-resourced contact centers, like all afternoon or all day, for example. Okay, make sense? Okay, and this is a really cool groundbreaking bit. So self-scheduling, this is not done by any other WFM vendor at the moment, and we've just released it to market last week. So all of our cloud customers across the globe will have the ability to turn this on, should they want to. So self-scheduling, what does that mean? I'd like an earlier lunch to make an appointment. You've probably all heard that. Or I'd like an earlier lunch so I can go to lunch with my mates, please. Okay. So common scenario, an agent realizes this. They might email the planner, or they might actually put themselves not ready, walk over to the planner, can I have an early lunch? My mates are going then. Okay. Takes a bit of time. The planner opens up the spreadsheet. They have to kind of work out when the best time for that lunch is. And then they might say, actually, no, the service levels would be down if you went for lunch at that time. Okay, could take 15 minutes, could take 4 hours, depending on if the planner's busy or they're in a meeting or whatever. So this is the new scenario we can offer with Teleopti. No more kind of back and forth. The agent can see the schedule, see where the lunch is, and they can drag and drop up and down to when they want the lunch to be. If that doesn't break any of the service level rules you've set as a planner and as a business, then the lunch will be automatically approved to be moved to whatever time they want. So yeah, potentially 10 to 15 seconds. It's all agent driven, so they just move it. If it doesn't hit the service, if it doesn't break the service level, then it will be approved. Okay, so our marketing teams put this particular slide together. So this is the best transition you're going to see today. It's pretty cool. There you go. One more time. Right, I've gone off a piece there. Okay, so this is Grant, the chatbot. As you can imagine, it's very imaginatively named. Grant, it grants absence. So it can grant absence, it can deny it, or it can give alternative options. This is an internal chatbot for your agents to converse with. Hopefully that makes sense. There's a video coming in a second, so hopefully it'll make a bit more sense. So we launched that in June this year. It was deployed in one of our largest customers in the US, which is called Lyft, similar to Uber, very similar to Uber. I don't think they're over here yet, but there are about 10,000 seats. Feedback from them was fantastic. Hundreds of people use this per day. If you imagine a contact center of that size and scale, the small little requests you get from hundreds of agents that go to planners every day, this takes away all of that small chunks of time, which is quite fiddly for planners to have to look into specific requests. So that's kind of the purpose of it. But yeah, we're going to launch this in the UK with some customers from January. So we're really excited about that, and I think it's going to add a lot of value. And again, that chatbot is powered by AI, so it's from Microsoft Azure Cloud, where our platform's based. So it's Microsoft AI, and it's going to continue to develop. So we've got the kind of like, we can move shifts around a little bit at the moment, but as we develop functionality with it, it'll do more than just that. Cool. Okay, there's another one. Paper airplane. Okay, so the other thing, advanced gamification. So back to the employees, how do we keep them entertained, motivated, happy? I wish my role was more exciting. So we spent a lot of time with employee psychiatrists to wonder, how do we keep employees happy and engaged? And this is what we developed. So this is not just like an individual leaderboard, which you might see in other tools. What we can instead do is team-based rewards. So a daily or weekly challenge or a mission for a certain number of people, for people to work better together, improve team morale. So rather than just having your top performers, which I'm sure you've seen plenty of times, just smash the numbers every week, it empowers more of your middle performers who make up the kind of bulk or core of your workforce. And this is not just monetary value, so the kind of rewards we can offer, so better preferences. Do we give your better performing teams early access to your Christmas schedule, for example, so they can book Christmas Day off or whatever it might be? Car park spaces. Everyone have problems with car park spaces? Yeah, pretty much everyone, yeah. So do you have a golden agent car park space by the front door? You incentivize good performance by offering that for a week or a month. I talked about ASOS before, so they don't have any incoming calls, so their contact center's a little bit different from most because there's not loads of chatter all the time. So their best agents on an hourly basis, the next hour they get to choose the Spotify playlist for an hour. So that's the kind of rewards that they use. And obviously team nights out, everyone loves a team night out. And again, these kind of leaderboards, these are included as standard in our base licensing. This is not like an add-on thing. It's going to cost loads of money. This is a part of our base package, so you get this out of the box. The kind of things we can show is how am I performing individually. So you see John Smith there, obviously a demo platform, but John Smith's got loads of gold stars, which is fantastic. You can see up here as well that you can see what the gold stars are for. Answer calls, adherence, but also CSAT. So CSAT's not really something you often see in a workforce management platform. So the reason for that is we can import non-workforce management stats into Teleopti. The benefit of that is what you're doing is turning a workforce management tool into a performance management dashboard by having a holistic view of all the stats. So you're taking in all the key metrics your contact center might measure people on, putting them within Teleopti so that you can see all the WFM stats, which are really important, but also things like CSAT or quality scores, which are also of equal importance.